This is the Riga Rap. Hello, I'm Chris Smith.
And I'm Lesley Riddoch, his wife.
And we're in Riga.
Yeah. We're in the Riga Dome, which is the biggest cathedral in the Baltics. And we're kind of quite taken aback by how sort of bare it is, but it's had about 4 different being demolished and rebuiltnesses about it. But it also kind of seems to pick up. It's strange, actually. They're very keen on their exteriors, but this is pretty, well, I think it's drab.
Yeah, but it's very Protestant in comparison to, say, some of the Catholic basilicas and things that you see.
But I think this is Catholic.
No, this
You've
is...
got a poster of an abortion up there.
Yeah, this is Protestant. This is... The Teutonics were in the... this is all Lutheran and...
Oh yeah, the Teutonics didn't do Catholic, did they?
No, not really.
So why is there that picture of sort of don't kill unborn babies up there?
Because it's pretty strong. Although the Lutherans smoke, they also are,
anti-women's rights.
Well,
is one way you could look at it.
Is one way you could look
Smithy's
at it.
going, this isn't where I thought this would go.
No, and certainly when we're trying to discuss stuff under...
I know, under God's house and all that.
Yeah, and there's also going to be some photographs that we're going to be trying to show you of our time in Riga, which has been fairly jolly.
It has been fairly, but wet.
Very wet.
And a bit grey.
Yeah, grey is what you'd actually say. It's been milder than everybody can imagine.
Yeah, very much milder. One woman, although it could have been bad translation, because the majority of visitors here are Russians and then Germans, and the Brits are way down the line. You know, everybody thinks this is kind of Stag Night City or whatever, and it may be for everybody else, but we are not turning up in big numbers. But anyway, so everyone keeps speaking to you in German, jawohl, and that's probably because we're both big. The other thing about people here is they are petite. I thought when we came here, the woman in the front of us in the row had anorexia. She's just average. This is what size 6 is all about. These people, size nothing would be big for them.
That's true. This is not the home of the East German shot putter. It's all kind of thin, wiry. You can see them doing, gymnastics, doing stuff like Nordic skiing, that kind of stuff. It's
lap dancing.
Possibly... No, Lapland dancing, possibly with reindeer, but not lap dancing.
This is actually a tribute to how much Chris has tried not to observe the fact that there is every other bar is supposed to be a sort of girly bar, although it's not in your face.
Yeah, but I have
it's supposed to be, but we haven't really seen them.
That's true. But there's also, it's very noticeable, there's lots and lots of Porsche four-wheel drives and just very, very luxurious cars. Lexus are all over the place and whatever. So it looks like there's a certain amount of gangster money has arrived.
And in fact, the lady I spoke to when I was trying to find a bar that in English was like a proper club, rather, that wasn't a kind of girly bar in disguise, she just sort of stroked half of them off and said, these are all girly. And then the other one, she said, these are for criminals. There's only 2 left that you could go to.
So there's a certain element of the criminality about the place. But having said that, it's kind of like what you'd imagine a lot of places were like just before real Western tourists arrived. I mean, Lesley asked for a train timetable at the railway station, strangely enough, and the lady laughed. That was the sound of the lady laughing at the thought there might be a train timetable. Considering the road out of Riga to St. Petersburg, for example, is almost straight and was used for military purposes
not that long ago.
Not that long ago.
In fact, they nearly all charged in here. We saw that film on telly to get that guy Berezovsky or whatever when he just landed here 3 years ago. They were mobilising the tanks to go and pick him up. So it's 100 kilometres, isn't it, to the Russian border?
That's right, but there's only one train a day.
Grr.
So
and it's like a big overnight, big deal kind of thing. It would be like there just being one train to London from Edinburgh. It's bizarre.
So, but having said all of that, I mean, it's a very jolly place. We found a lovely double coffee place, which is really good. And as you can see, the caffeine effects have already affected Mr. Riddoch. It's substantial.
Because you're not affected by anything, are you?
No, not by that much coffee anyway. And it's quite nice, but the prices are
ridiculous.
It's not the kind of place that you'd actually want to come and say.
There's nothing is. In fact, we may have been ripped off a little bit on the exchange rate, but even so, if you go into bookshops, they're the same price in pounds and in lats.
Yeah. So it either means that they haven't worked out that tourists might actually come here for as a destination. They've got to up the game a bit to get us here, because the only things that seems to be comparatively cheap are fags and the old boozo.
Yeah, which is not like your typical Scandinavian profile, actually.
Uh-huh.
But I just wonder, given that there's people from Latvia horsing over, and when we came over in the plane, I just got the feeling there was about 6 people that were Scottish and everybody else was Latvians going home for the weekend, right?
Yes.
So they're horsing over to work for us, presumably because they get paid more, and the prices are the same at home in their city centre shops.
This is true.
They're shopping in basically supermarkets.
That we will include on this photo montage, a photograph of one of the Latvians taking a PC under his arm as the second piece of luggage onto the plane. And I was
with great difficulty.
Yeah, trying to sort of sneak it onto the plane, as obviously this is
not hand luggage.
Not hand luggage.
Because he got a plastic bag that was falling to pieces with his worldly goods with hand luggage, and the other bit under a black jacket was supposed to be non-existent. But anyway, fair play to him.
Yeah, so it was all...
I don't know how they're managing in their own city, and the place is quiet. I mean, okay, it's February and it's pretty crap weather, but look at this. We've been jabbering here in the biggest cathedral in the Baltics. Where is everybody? Nobody's come up and told us you can't do that. Nobody's even walked past.
Yeah, but it has been fairly noticeable everywhere we've gone in terms of most of the towers or churches that we've gone into, because there's an awful lot of churches with an awful lot of towers, which seems to be the thing for mature tourists of a certain age, which we are. It seems to be full of ladies of a certain age. It's like looking at your mum gives you a ticket to go up a tower, and you almost expect her to say, "Be careful and hold on to the handrail, won't you?"
Yeah, but that's the way that's where all these old babushka type women are sitting doing, isn't it? I mean, because it's the same in Prague and all sorts of places. There's just these women sitting inside.
Yeah, but it's, as I say,
keeps them, and they're all sitting with their berets on.
So their berries, they're going to keep warm if nothing else, and it's all terribly jolly. I mean, we did go to one place which was right down by the central market, and went into enormous airdromes full of
Porkland.
Pork, beef. I mean, vegetarians. I can imagine my daughter Jennifer, bless her, the vegetarian of the parish, or Morrissey, for example, would never be spotted in there, because it was just acres and acres of meat being thumped around in all sorts of areas.
And then the next one, it's like if you're into boots, ladies, with big spiky heels and all sorts of any embellishments, just come here.
Yeah.
But you probably have to be about 6 stone.
That's true, 6 stone, and you have to be capable of wearing big, thick, Buddy Holly, Joe 90 type glasses, which also with little bits of gold, just to demonstrate that it is actually Gucci or whatever.
See, but I think you're not. I think you're not giving enough credit to these gals. Not only have they got to be 6 stone to wear the big spiky heels, but can you imagine trying to, trip the light fantastic over all these cobbles, which are beautiful, by the way. They're all colourful cobbles, different sort of stones in them. But by George, I mean, I'm walking along with relatively flat boots on, and it's a bit of a job.
Well, yeah, that's certainly true. But listen, I mean, I think we should stop jabbering and just say the photographs that we've
cheesy outcoming.
Cheesy outcoming, yes. And finally, this has been a bite your bum production or whatever they could call it. But this was just recorded to put some words behind a photo montage that you were actually seeing. And I hope you enjoyed Riga as much as what we did.
Yeah.
But it's definitely come for the coffee, but not for the shopping.
And also for the hotel room.
Yes.
Cosy.
Yes, the hotel room was cosy. You could sleep a lot in it. And we will include, at this point, the sound of the bed. Yes, that was the sound of the bed. Or actually underneath
and
this.
not doing anything other than, I mean, that was not untoward activity.
This is just jumping up and down. So, it's good night from me.
And good night from her.
Good night. Good night.